ChroNoSo, we are here for the final block of ChroNoSo before we head right into WrestleMania 5. And there's no better guy here to talk about the mega powers fully exploding other than you, Dave Hall. What's going on, buddy?
Oh, mate, I'm excited. It's been a long, long journey. The ChroNoSo Mega Powers build has gone on for a long time, and I'm excited to almost conclusion as we build towards WrestleMania.
For sure. Now, Dave, you and I, right before SummerSlam ChroNoSo, SummerSlam 88 ChroNoSo, did a chapter 1 of the Mega Powers, and now we are here to do the final chapter. I know Steve Bennett, D'Amato, Hollywood Dave Rollins, myself, you, I believe Riddle, Jenny, Logan, a few others have touched upon the Mega Powers, but we are here today to kind of skim coat all of their discussion and then bring in the final meet interviews heading into the WrestleMania 5.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's really good for me. I'm really excited to be a part of this segment because I actually had the privilege of covering the Randy Savage versus Honky Tonk Man match and Saturday night's main event where the Mega Powers started. So it's sort of, for me, it's almost a full conclusion. I get to do the beginning, and now I get to sort of wrap it all up as we lead up to the blow off. So it's a really good opportunity.
For sure. And like you said, that started in, what was that? Late 1987, where the Honky Tonk Man was facing Randy Savage for the Intercontinental Championship. And this is the Bret Hart infamous guitar shot, correct?
It's the guitar shot over the head. Honky levels in with the guitar shot, and Liz runs to the back and comes out dragging Hogan, and Hogan has that sort of what's going on look, and then he sees the ring and it's all determination. In he goes and helps clear the ring, and then he and Savage do for the first time the handshake. The handshake comes in, and the Mega Powers were born, and it was a great moment. It really was. It was a really good, very unique moment. And I think at the time it really solidified Savage's full face turn, and it launched him to a new level of standing in the company. He was portrayed as an equal to Hogan and not just as another guy in the Intercontinental title division. So it was a big moment.
And of course, Savage will go on to win the WWF Championship at WrestleMania 4 in the WrestleMania tournament. And Hogan was there by his side to help make sure Andre and Virgil did not get in the way. And it was a fair fight between him and the $1 Million Man in the tournament finals.
It's definitely a fair fight. It is always a fair fight when you can level someone out with a chair. When you're Hulk Hogan, that's for sure. And yeah, it was portrayed as a passing of the torch moment. Savage was now in that upper echelon, really cemented in, carrying the title, Hogan by his side, but there was always an element where you had that question mark. Could Savage have won the title without the help of Hulk? Savage was in the $1 Million Dream when it happened, when DiBiase got hit by the chair. So, you could argue, and you can look at the storyline that was put together. Without Hogan, Savage never becomes the champ.
Which is the great introduction to the crux of this storyline, of course. And then after WrestleMania 4, Hogan would go away, and Savage would receive countless beatings and attacks from Virgil, DiBiase, and Andre, leading into what we did as chapter 1 of the Mega Powers coming together. And what kind of went on there? So pretty much Savage was getting blindsided and getting one-upped and trying to get weakened and so on and so forth by Andre and DiBiase and Virgil.
Yeah, and it was the announcement that Hogan was back. I found a partner, and he's the best partner he could ever have, and it comes across at that time period the respect that's there between them. Hogan and Savage sort of bringing in his brother, basically the man that he trusts to fight DiBiase and Andre, and that, I think that the build to SummerSlam is highlighted by. It really is the peak of their trust. They are a team fully united with one mission, one plan, one direction, and nothing's going to get in their way.
Maybe Elizabeth, but we'll see about that.
Well, she's not in their way at SummerSlam. She's at the forefront of their plan.
Yeah, for sure. And then we get the main event of the Mega Powers versus the Mega Bucks at SummerSlam. And I believe D'Amato, myself, Hollywood, and Steve Bennett went over that here on the YouTube channel. I'll throw it in the comments. Well, what did you kind of take coming out of that, inaugural SummerSlam? That was Madison Square Garden. It was a massive event. Jesse was the special guest referee.
I know, and you guys covered it brilliantly back then. And if you didn't catch that clip, go back and watch it. Really encourage everyone. I think one of the keys on that is firstly the teamwork that Hogan and Savage showed. I always love that end segment where Jesse doesn't want to count the pin and Savage forces the hand down. But interesting to note, it's Hogan who has to take the win, who gets the win. Hogan scores the pinfall, not Savage, not the champ. Something to think about. We'll maybe get back to that. And then I mean we've all covered it, but yeah, in the celebration you have that moment. I think where the dissension starts. You like that? You like that? Hogan helps balance Liz on Savage's shoulder with a interestingly placed hand, just balancing her, making sure she doesn't fall over, and but the hand is a little too close to her tushy, I think, for Savage's liking.
And this little fraction would slowly start to crack. It's you got that concrete in your driveway and you notice it just slowly increasing. Not enough to kind of get your hands in there and maybe fit it in there.
I've heard stuff said that it wasn't an intentional part of the storyline, but it was something that they were able to use to their benefit. I've heard Bruce Pritchard say that really Hogan was just trying to balance her. That's what he was doing. But the way the camera angle picked it up, it was something they were able to use and benefit from because they lucked into this situation, which is really what it's about. It's about misperception. It's about misreading, or is it the misreading of someone's intentions? And that's what this whole storyline really is about in the end.
The words out of my mouth as we get there. All right, this will bring us to the Survivor Series main event. The last moment, Hogan gets the win, celebrates with Liz, while Savages are recovering from the beating. And the next kind of line of, they're celebrating as I'm over here taking my beating, and it's metaphorically they're up celebrating and I'm here down on the ground. They're stealing the shine, but I'm the champ. A lot of an explanation point on the jealousy really sinking in for the Macho Man.
Absolutely. I think what really always stood out to me in that little progression is that you see Liz tending to Savage. She's there. He's taken the beating. He's lying in the corner, and Liz is sort of hand on his shoulder. You okay? You okay? And she's going over to say to Hulk, come and check on him. Come and be with your partner. And as she touches Hulk, he just turns around and picks her up in the big hug and is celebrating and right in front of Randy. He caught every minute of that. And another interesting thing to note in the build up to the Survivor Series, which we didn't touch on and really didn't get picked up on, but in between SummerSlam and Survivor Series, Hogan starts bringing Liz out on his own matches as his manager. Like all of a sudden, Hogan has a manager. Never needed one in his entire career, but Liz is no longer just Randy's manager. She's the manager of the Mega Powers, but now she's Hogan's manager. And I think that ties into the Survivor Series build, and that main event is Hogan is celebrating with his manager as opposed to Randy's manager.
Not their manager. Gotcha. Perfect. Yeah, that's why we're going through it, buddy. We're not leaving any cracks open. We're kind of skimming over everything. And of course, the 1989 Royal Rumble, Hulk Hogan would eliminate the Macho Man Randy Savage. What'd you think of that?
I think it's a great moment. We talked about it during the Rumble presentation, but again, it comes across. Hogan looks like he's trying to eliminate bad news, and Savage seems to be caught up as collateral damage. Or was he trying to eliminate both? It's every man for himself. We know that Hogan is a big proponent of every man for himself when it suits him. We see that multiple times in the future.
We'll see, buddy. And then the Brother Love show with the Twin Towers in Slick.
Yeah, this is the Brother Love segment I covered a couple of episodes ago where Hogan comes out with, I love Elizabeth like a sister. And yeah, but I know that Randy loves her in a bigger way. But this is the interview where it's clear something's changed. Randy Savage is not responding to Hogan the way he always had. He's not you don't get the big nods and the big affirmations and the brother fellowship that was always there in the previous interviews that we saw. There's a clear change, and you just get that impression. Savage doesn't like the idea that Hogan has said that he loves Elizabeth. It's almost like you hear what you want to hear. I think he heard he loves Elizabeth as opposed to like a sister.
We'll get to it at the end.
Yeah.
In between then, Steve Bennett and I went over the Saturday night's main event where it was Hulk versus Akeem. Elizabeth only to the ring. Akeem had Boss Man and Slick, but the Macho Man in the broom closet with Mean Gene and all that frantic nonsense right there.
Yeah.
But that was really a slow acceleration point too, where we said he could do it by himself, and then he went out when he absolutely needed him.
That's right. That's right. He was there, but is he trusting Hogan, or is he waiting for Hogan to cop a beating?
Yeah. Is he trying to make Hogan realize that they are equal in his own mind, mind you? He's trying to make Hogan realize that they're equal and he really needs them, or is he trying to soften them because he knows where this is heading? That's kind of the gray area that you get.
Yeah.
And then you have the full blow off, or Slick in the Twin Towers versus the Mega Powers at the main event. Criscolo and Bennett covered that one too. But now we are here at the final home stretch, the final 4 to 5 weeks here. The interviews leading in, Dave. What's going on with those?
So on Superstars, basically the week after the breakup of Hogan and Savage, the week after the main event, we start to get a series of pre-recorded interviews each week on Superstars for about 5 weeks. And the first week of the interviews, it really is both Hogan and Savage justifying their position coming out of the main event. Hogan sort of saying, I was caring for Liz. I was never jealous of you. I wasn't gunning for you. And Savage reiterating the points he was making at the end of that main event segment, where you were coming, you were always jealous of me. You didn't come at me man to man. If you come at me man to man, I would beat you. So he reiterates that sentiment that you've been trying to undermine me and undercut me. You didn't come at me man at man. You've been trying to take this away from me, and he highlights that. And then each week it builds upon it. So it's almost like they respond to each other. So Hogan then the following week is coming out, no, I wasn't coming for you. I was never coming for you. I was never after Liz. And Savage doubling down, you were the jealous eyes. We just all we have to do is go back to SummerSlam. We just have to go back to Survivor Series, and we start to get the flashback moments. We just have to go back to these events where you were embracing Liz. You were trying to take her away from me. And for the first 2-3 weeks, that's the premise. Hogan justifying himself. I wasn't after you. You've misunderstood the situation. And Savage doubling down, tripling down. You were coming for me. You were trying to take everything that I had. You were coming from my title. You were coming from my woman. You were coming from my livelihood. And I'm going to make you pay. And then in the last couple of weeks, and each week, Savage seems to get more manic in his interview approach. He's getting more ramped up, as only Randy Savage can do, that manic style that he has. And Hogan is he's portraying himself as the innocent man, as there's no deceit in my body. I'm always been, I was your brother, I was your partner, we were the mega powers, we were one. And Savage, doubling on the we were never one. You were always coming at me. And then in the last couple of weeks, the last 2 weeks, as we sort of build into Mania, the interviews then shift to that actual match. We've got a match. I'm going to beat you. I'm gonna take back, and Hogan coming back from, I'm taking back my title. And that was the one thing that really stands out in Hogan's interviews. I'm taking back my title. You've got my belt and I want it back. And Savage, this is my title. I won it. I'm going to beat you. You came after me, but I'm going to stop you. I'm going to put an end to all this. And that's what it is. As we build week to week, they get more manic. But these interviews are really seem to present this picture that Hogan is the innocent man, didn't do anything wrong. It's all been misjudged by Savage. Savage has misinterpreted all of his actions and all of the things he's done, and he's taken it the wrong way. And Savage, really reiterating the point of, you're always coming for me. We were never really friends because you were always jealous of me being the champ. And you've always wanted what I've got, and I'm not going to let you take it from me. And that's where they come to this thrust point of both guys saying, at WrestleMania, I'm going to beat you. Savage, I'm going to keep my belt, and Hogan, I'm going to get back my title.
All right, Dave. So I'm going to present you with two scenarios as we get out of here. Hulk Hogan, is he the good guy and Savage is a lunatic? Or is Hogan gunning for Savage's belt and his lady?
Well,
what is the verdict?
What is the verdict? Where do I stand? It's, as I said, WWF presented a story and a picture that they were able to really allow the fans, I think, to make up their own mind, leading to these interviews. And then these interviews were designed to paint Hogan as the face and Savage as the good guy. But I think they needed to use these interviews because I think there are a lot of fans. I'm one of those people who I look at the events and I see Hogan doing things that it's not a misunderstanding. It's not a misrepresentation. As I said earlier, Hogan announces that Elizabeth is now his manager. Hogan never had a manager, never needed a manager from the time he came into the company as the hero, the conquering hero, never needed a manager. Why all of a sudden does he need Elizabeth as his manager? Now, I will accept that the SummerSlam moment could have been an accident, but the hug at the end of Survivor Series was not an accident. Hogan was celebrating and he hooks Liz into his arms. Why is he hugging a girl who he knows is the love of his partner? You don't do that. I don't go out with my friends and hug their wives like that. Like, what would my wife say, for one? But you don't do that. And then you've got the Royal Rumble again. Could it be, you could say it's a misjudge. He was trying to eliminate bad news, but at the same time, it's every man for himself. I think Savage reacted to the elimination. I'll give Hogan the benefit of the doubt there. But to me, the main event, it's all Hogan's in the wrong. I've always maintained Hogan's in the wrong. Why does he carry Liz away from the ring? Why is he crying over her at ringside? Why doesn't he just allow the medics to come down and take back? Why? Hogan left his partner. There's something there. He wanted Liz in a different way than, or at least it comes across to me. Liz was more than just Savage's manager to Hogan. He wanted more of Liz, and Savage didn't like that. Hogan didn't need it. And I've always felt that the end game there, what happened at the main event, Savage was 100% in the right. 100% to be angry at Hogan for what happened. Totally. And there are several times over the journey where Hogan makes the comment about it being my title. I want my title back. Not just in these interviews at WrestleMania, but there are several times you hear it in the build-up between Survivor Series and Royal Rumble, Hogan talking about it having been his title, and he never lost it. He never lost it properly. So I always felt Hogan Hogan overstepped the line. He crossed the line, and Savage reacted to that. That's how I feel.
So he never lost the title properly is fact. I would love to know what the 24-inch podcast guys would think with that Hulk Hogan goggles on here. I tend to agree slightly with you, but I'm going to play the Hollywood side of things, the Hulk Hogan side of things. And I say Hollywood for a reason because the brother's always a little heelish for a way, right? He was unjustly treated. The Ebner in DiBiase and Andre screwed him, and Savage benefited from it.
Oh
And
yeah.
I know, and leading into this since 1985, Savage was a bad guy. He did bad things to Ricky Steamboat. He did bad things to a lot of people, right? So to his core, he's not really a good guy in this world, right? He's kind of a bad guy. So Hogan was unjustly treated, and the rules were broken. So he knew the Macho Man vulnerability because they are friends, despite the Macho Man's let's just say flaws of being a bad guy to his core. So Hogan manipulated his friend perhaps to get his prize back, to get his keys to the castle, the WWE Championship, and perhaps, like you said, a few things with Elizabeth got in the way. Some not on purpose, other towards the end on purpose. Once he saw Randy getting mentally broken and mentally out of state. And I felt that he had a vulnerability and he had him on tilt, and he was going to catch him on the river and beat him in that game of poker. So I think from a good guys, from a standpoint from Hulk's standpoint, I think he uses Macho's temper and everything against him to get selfishly to get that title back for himself. But
Absolutely.
I think overall, I think this is a fantastic storytelling from the WWF. I think it is a top 10, 5, 3, 1, 2, whatever you want to call it. It belongs in any conversation for top storyline in this company's history, for sure.
Oh yeah, top three. I would have not in any order, but the three in my mind, the three greatest storylines that I believe have happened in the last since I've been a fan: the Mega Powers journey, the Austin McMahon storyline, and honestly, I think what they've done with the Bloodline over the past couple of years, at least probably until sort of the Sami Zayn, Jay Uso end point. But where it's going, but certainly that story, those are to me have been the three greatest storylines of the company in the time I've been a fan. This one, it's one of top three. How you choose to rank it probably sits on where your fandom lies when you were truly the big fan. I think what you said about Hogan manipulating things is very valid. I believe this storyline, if it was done anytime from 1997 on, Hogan comes out of this as the heel and Savage as the face, because the way it was presented, the like you said, the manipulation, the misrepresentation, the subtleness to it, the modern fan would be picking up on that straight away, would be talking about it on the net, and everyone would be siding with Savage.
Yeah.
Everyone would be siding with Savage. You can't, but in 1988, 89,
different world.
Hogan was the good guy, and you could manipulate the fans through the use of the interviews, which is what these interviews leading to WrestleMania really did. It was a final manipulation of the fans by the company to be going, Hogan is the good guy. He's the hero. He's the champion who is going to uphold everything that's right. And Savage is the guy who's in the wrong. He's misread what Hogan's approach was. He's misread his intentions. And he's the one who's ended the friendship by turning on his partner when all his partner was doing was looking out for their manager. That's the premise of these interviews. And it really was to nut it down so that at WrestleMania and beyond, you had a clear cut. Hogan is the good guy. Savage is the bad guy going into that WrestleMania main event, which I'm all excited for.
It's going to be a great one. It's a fantastic match. We've laid everything out here. We skimmed it over. We've gone over. It's been the heartbeat of ChroNoSo for the last year, pretty much. So, Dave, we're finally at the finish line. We are at the road of WrestleMania. And we will bring it to you here at next episode here at ChroNoSo, buddy.
And in the words of Randy Savage, all I can say is, "Ooh, yeah."
All right, Dave. We will see you on the next one, buddy.
Thanks, guys.